All right, guys. Thank you for being here with Beard of Darkness Book Reviews. Man, I've been so excited to talk with Mr. Zack Argyle. Just how are you tonight, man?
I'm happy. I got a giant beard on my screen. We're good to go,
Ready
man.
to go. Man, the author of the Threadlight trilogy, the founder of the Indie Fantasy Fund, and the Epic Fantasy audiobooks, which over 1 million hours, right?
Yep.
Where does that number even come from? Like, how does that happen?
The so that's the YouTube channel. Just lots of people watching the audiobooks.
Congratulations,
Crazy.
because I know how hard that is. Being on YouTube is not something that you can just like, I'll give it a little bit of effort, man.
It helps when your videos are 12 hours long.
Well, sure. But you need the interest to get to people to those videos.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think
true.
you're
That's
doing a
true.
wonderful job. Right off the rip, congratulations with your success, your wife's success. You guys
Thank
are a
you.
big inspiration to a lot of people, and man, just congratulations. How does that feel to be
Dude, it's
somebody
so
that
weird. It's so weird. We've been married for 12 years and we've just like been nerding out the entire time. And this just kicked off. Like I published my first work in 2020 and she started her channel later that year. And
yeah?
so it was just like, I don't know, we were like nerds in our own little world. And then we were like, what if we like start sharing this with people? And then she was like, well, I want to talk with more people. Like she started her channel because she just wanted to talk with more people about
Okay.
books.
Well, she's opinionated, and
Oh
I
yeah.
love that, brother. Like, it's an honest channel. Like, nobody's gonna watch your channel and like stumble upon an unhonest video. Yeah,
It
it's
cracks me up because she's kind of an intense person.
no
It's
way.
fine. She'll accept that. Uh, but like because she's kind of intense, people get so confused when they meet her in person because she's only 5'2". Like she's a tiny human. And everyone thinks that she's like
She's a
five
tiny
eight, five
human.
nine, because she has this big presence. And so it always makes me laugh when people meet her. They're like, "Oh, you're a lot smaller than I thought you would be."
So the contrast, I'm 6'5", would be a little bit.
You're
Uh,
6'5"?
I'm 6'5".
Dude, you're a monster. That's awesome.
I played football, I played basketball, and now I read books and take care of kids and hail my wife because she does so much
That's
better
so
than I
awesome.
do.
Hey, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So, man, that's so cool. I love what you've got going on. I hope you guys continue it. I don't see it ending anytime soon. You guys have such a cool thing going. So James Doolin, we all know this guy,
James.
James up in his house, with his wonderful book coming out very soon, number 2. Gosh, I wish I had it in front of me because I feel like a total doofus not remembering the name of the second book. But hey,
It's
he'll
like
let me know in
No
the
Safe Haven or something like
No
that. Is that
Safe
right? Is
Haven.
that right?
Zach, of course, the chin's
Got it.
got it. I told him he
I
had a
win.
wonderful chin line before, but I said that's what it is. He sells books because of the wonderful chin line that I don't have because I hide it with a beard.
See, you do
So
have it, but you don't want to intimidate people too much because you're already 6'5", and you're like, if I'm 6'5" and super hot, then it's game over, man.
So a little pretense. Zach and I haven't talked a lot before this, not even like a lot of chats or emails. It was kind of something we planned and we're touching up now. And it's really cool, man. Like there's nothing more incredible to me than finding out that you're just as nice as I thought you were. So yeah, you're
It's
just
all
as
a
nice as I
lie,
thought.
man. Wait till
Hey.
you meet me in person. Oh wait, except for I see Caden is in the chat and he's met me in
Oh,
person. So
you know
oh,
what?
and so is
Cadence.
Ganesh too.
Yeah.
Good to see
So
you.
these guys that you're talking are very frequent on my channel, man. I'm just in love with them all. They're very, very nice people. May Govinan, everyone. We've got Tim McKay, just had him on. He's another guy. He's 6'4". I had no idea. Howdy,
Oh wow.
folks. Yeah, he just released his second book. We've got Caden Love. Love you, Zach. That's straightforward.
He wants it, man. He's
He
feeling it.
does. He's an up and coming guy, man. I think he's involved. He's doing what he needs to do. I think uh, you'd have to remind me, Caden, when your book comes out, but I'm very much looking forward to it. And I
So
will
I
push a
found
couple.
Caden through the Indie Fantasy Fund. He submitted to the Indie Fantasy Fund, and
Uh-huh.
so
So
I
tell me a little
read
bit more about that.
I read the beginning of his book, and that's what I was like. I was like, I think he's got something really cool here. But at the same time, I was like, this needs care. Like this, I don't know if you know like anything about his story, but there's like
So yeah, a
there's
little
like
bit
deep,
about
like harvesting organs.
organs. Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't do that right,
Ooh.
it's not going to go well. So I was like, this is a really interesting, cool book, and I love the ideas, but it's got to be done well. And so that's why we selected him to work with Sarah Chorn, because as far as editors go, like she's just the best. So I was
probably
like,
the most
two together,
brought up name.
Special, yeah.
Brought up name, probably the most brought up name I hear when I hear about editors, and he's got the attitude, he's got the love for the craft. I think you're on your way, Caden. Keep doing what you're doing.
He's just a cutie too.
He is. He's got that baby face, doesn't he?
Oh,
so we got John A. Douglas up in here. Zach, may your writing hand never falter, your ideas never run dry, your sales never flag, and may your enemies do all three. What a line.
Who are my enemies? I need some enemies.
Does it matter? That line's just good.
That's pretty solid.
Matt
Simply
Jones.
Spelled my name wrong, John. Come on,
Zach,
man.
That's a C. It's not an H, brother. It's a K, man. It's all good. Well, I can't say it's all good. That's his name. You didn't misspell Matt. So, speaking of Matt Jones, another man, one of the first guys to send me his book. Boom, The Shepherd. God, what a short story. If I could recommend one short story, it's his. It's a striking cover. It's a good story. It's quick. It's not like it's a good, like, if you read a lot of fantasy and knights and shining armor, that kind of thing, this is going to be one of those you're going to really love. It's got a grandfather. He shows his love for his granddaughter. There's wolves.
Nice.
There's some violence. It's good. So The Shepherd by Matt Owens Jones.
I like it.
Montague is up in here. We've got Charlie Cavendish, another repeat guy. He's the man. Good day, gang. Over in Australia, that's how they say hello. Okay, so thank you, Caden, for that. January. So, a couple questions. We'll get to some questions. Tell us about the Threadlight trilogy, and give us the name of each book, if you will, and kind of like the overview. I'd love that.
Yeah, so it's 3 books. It's a trilogy. It was planned that way from the start. I knew what was going to be happening the entire time, and so even like the first chapter, there are reveals about it in midway through the 3rd book, kind of thing. First book is called Voice of War. Second book is Stones of Light. 3rd book is Bonds of Chaos. I have regrets about naming the first book Voice of War. It's a very fitting title, but there's no wars in it. And so I think it kind of sets bad expectations for people going into it, which I've learned is important for marketing. Like expectations are important.
Yeah. So I just real quick, let me interrupt. Does it foreshadow a little bit?
Well, so in the first book, there is a voice in the main character Chris's head, and it's a voice that he picked up from the war 5 years ago. And so it's the Voice of War is kind of what it came from. So like it's a fitting title for the book, but it does have implications that are a little wrong.
Well, no, I like that though, because something that is in your main character's head and is an influence in the book, it does make absolute sense for me. So we've got E.C. Greaves, a finalist in the SPFBO with Daughter of the Beast.
Yes.
Woo-hoo! We've got let's see. I'm slow.
My wife loved that book, by the way. That was her finalist.
Yeah, I was so happy. I'm so happy you're bringing that up because I haven't watched a lot of the announcements into the finalists, but I did watch your wife's book board. Everybody knows that, but if you haven't gone to her channel and subscribed, go right now. Like, leave my live and go do that real quick because she's got a wonderful channel, honest, and she's not holding back. Threadlight has some of the coolest fantasy moms ever. Wow. What do you have to say about that?
Well, when you're married to an awesome woman, it turns out you just kind of naturally get awesome women in your stories.
Look at that.
So,
look at that.
Yep.
I hope she's watching because that was a beautiful.
No, she's out with the kids right now.
Well, then she's doing something a lot of people can't do. She's got a job right now, and I watch my wife do it, and I'm like, I'd never be able to do that.
She's not happy doing it. She's out
Well,
seeing the Paw Patrol movie, which is not what she would like to be doing with her life right now.
Paw
But it's a good
Patrol.
mom thing to do.
It is, and as somebody who watches Paw Patrol on a daily basis, yeah, that's difficult every single day. But hey, you know what? The kids love it's there, so they're doing something right, right?
Yep.
Montague, it's a good channel. You're absolutely right. Bookborn has a wonderful channel. Everyone smash the like button, do the YouTube things. Oh, thank you, John. But do that for Bookborn and everybody else too. So would you give us like the blurb for the series as a whole? Like kind of, no spoilers. You know how this works.
So when I do a blurb for the whole series, I just give some spoilers anyway, because I think
Okay.
it's fine.
Well, do whatever you want to do because you're Zach, so you can do that.
Yeah, so it's an epic fantasy trilogy where magic users go missing and old gods return. It's filled with lots of themes of family and both found family and actual family. So like I mentioned, there's lots of moms, there's dads, there's grandparents. And yeah, it's really just about what three unrelated people are willing to do to protect the ones they love. And sometimes you got to save the world to do it.
Shit. Just as deep as it goes, man. I love that because you're a dad. I touch on this a lot on my channel. And you know what? Honestly, it's one of my favorite things to talk about because fantasy has brought us together. Right now, we're here talking. We're both dads. When I find those themes, and you touched on the things that I like people to touch on when they give a blurb, not reading from the back of the book, which I don't mind. People do that. That's cool, whatever. But you touched on your themes. And it sounds like you write from the heart. You take a lot of what is dear to your heart and put it on a piece of paper. Is that right?
Yeah, I've definitely gotten better at it over the years, but that is definitely what I like to do. Yep.
Naturally, right? So I'm assuming your very first work, just like, when I finally do my very first work, is probably going to be a stepping stone. Do you remember that for you, your first work?
I mean, Voice of War was the first book I ever wrote. Yeah.
One of those guys. He's Joe. Come on, man. No, that's cool, man. So I
didn't expect anyone to read it. And I
Really?
don't say that like as a joke. Like I didn't know anything about indie publishing.
Mhm.
I wrote the book. I had 8 friends read it and give feedback. And thank you, Pippin.
Yeah, he's just a great person.
He lives like 15 minutes away from me.
No doubt.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Man,
And I found that out because he ordered books from my website, and I like saw the address where I was going to ship them to. And I was like,
you got a sneak peek.
Should I go drop these off?
Right.
That'd be weird.
No, it wouldn't. You're one of those people that's like a lot of authors, unless you're like I know I can't name one right now, but there's like authors. It's like I like your books, but like let's keep away from each other a little bit because I don't trust your mind. I don't see like if you dropped a book off to me, I would be like, man, I'm reading this tonight and finishing it tonight. Like my kids can wait. So I think
if I was close to you, I'd do it, man.
That's cool, dude. That is so cool. And I believe you. You seem like a genuine guy. So he says you are an author of an amazing award-winning fantasy series, which I'm glad he said that. The co-founder of Indie Fantasy Fund and the Epic Fantasy Books and creator of Epic Fantasy Books, which is your audio, YouTube audio books, and star in a country music. I didn't know that. And a district pole vault. Okay, what is the end of this? What is he talking about?
I was the love interest in a country music video.
Yep. I can see it.
It is on YouTube. It was when I was in college. It was actually I signed up and got selected for it like 2 months before I met my wife. But then we started dating before it filmed, and so I was actually dating Bookborn when we filmed it. But you can look it up on YouTube. It's a pretty good song, actually.
Brother, I live in the area in the United States. It's the beginning of the Appalachian Mountains. We have hills, we have hollers, we have trailers. And man, I can see it because I know the look. You've got the cowboy hat in the video, right?
I do not.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you don't? Okay, see, I haven't seen it, but I can see you in one of those, okay? That's a compliment.
Thank you.
So who was the singer?
The singer is Anna Kalin.
Ooh, I've heard of this.
Anna Kaelin. The song is called Touch.
All right.
It's a bop, man. It's pretty good. Yeah.
All right. I like country music. I like all music, but I like country. I mean, it's natural here. I have to.
Like pop country.
Yeah. So you're a big fan of like Florida Georgia Line.
I mean, I don't really listen to it that much, no.
Okay, so Florida Georgia Line, my wife gets on me because she's like a true country lover, like Garth Brooks, George Strait,
Yeah.
that kind of deal. But yeah, Florida Georgia Line, a couple other guys. I'm not real big into music anymore because I don't listen to the radio. I just read books. So again, that's kind of why we're here. And I got sidetracked. I'm sorry. Ganesh over here just dropping some dimes. So what is the district? Are you a pole vault champion?
I was district champion in pole vault in high school. Yes, my junior year.
That is cool, man. And how does that feel to have a fan that knows all that?
I don't remember telling him that, but it must have been because we met at Dragon Con just a couple months ago.
So you were there with
at some point.
You were there with Chris.
Yep.
Christopher Russell. That was around the time he sent. We're doing something really cool.
Christopher Russell was not at Dragon Con. He was at FanX in Salt Lake.
Okay. Salt Lake City
was Atlanta.
Oh, that's right, because Ryan Cahill was there. There was a lot of people there. That's right. It looked really fun. I seen the pictures. I told my wife
it was.
This is our last baby, so we just had number 4. So maybe like within the next year or 2 years, we could start having fun. You know what I mean? One of those things is going to Dragon Con. So yeah, I hope you're at.
You have to. It's awesome.
Man, it sounds like a blast.
Yeah, you love it.
Man, so kind of back to the books. Something that dropped, I think it was today. The Advent of Winter. Was that today?
Yes. Yeah.
Dominish Books up in here. I wish he was here. I would represent the hell out of him.
I love Dom. He is.
And he makes everything sound.
He's just a good dude.
And when he speaks, it's just like I'm listening, and whatever he says, it's like I take that 100% seriously. I think it's the English accent too.
Yeah, he was one of the early fans of Threadlight, which really helped start to like shine a spotlight on it. It's like that's why Voice of War became a finalist in SPFBO. It had, I think, 19 reviews on Goodreads when it got selected, and a lot of people don't know that.
What year was that?
In 2020.
Okay, that's news to me because I don't know if you know this. I speak about it a lot, but I just got into. So I'm 33, November 14th. And I just got into fantasy reading and indies like this year, but fantasy reading when I was 29. Nice. So a lot of this is new to me. As much as I'm learning, I love it, but I still have a lot to learn. And one of those is prior SPFBO. So I'm glad you told me. So you were a finalist in 2020. 2020?
Yeah, ended in 2021. Yep.
Okay.
It was the 2020. It was SPFBO 6.
6. Okay, SPFBO. And since then, bravo on when I go to, I'm actually looking at it right now. You just have the absolute best way of categorizing the semifinal. I mean, the whole competition.
On the website. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful because, I think we talked a little bit before we started. Mark Lawrence, as wonderful as he is, it's a little confusing when you look at the blog.
Yes, it is. And so as a software engineer, I do a lot of web engineering. And so I was like, I can't look at Mark's page anymore, man. I just gotta give us a better representation of the book so people can actually see what they're looking for. And,
I gotta catch up.
It's so much work, man. So it actually makes me so happy whenever people comment and say how much they love it, because I'm like, it actually is a lot of work for me to keep it up to date with everything.
I'll bet.
So
I mean, 300 books.
Yeah.
And I couldn't begin. I do websites. I from looking at your website, I do very basic websites. And the more that I come across, the more I'm going to learn. So you have a learning website to me. It's very good.
Thank you.
Zach, what illustration are you most excited for in the Threadlight Deluxe Edition? Forcing my wife to read it once I get it. She's an art lover.
The what?
Uh-oh. Wow, dude.
The what? Oh, how
Wow, that
shiny
is
it is.
gorgeous.
Oh,
It is. How does it feel to have a book like that?
oh,
It's freaking amazing.
oh.
It's just
Honestly, this makes me so happy. Like I want, like you can see in the background over here, we've got like the Sanderson leather bounds.
uh-huh.
And ever since I wrote my books, I was like, I want a book that looks as good as those that I can put next to it.
Yeah.
And I finally have it.
You brother.
Man,
Wow. Yeah,
it's
it's
wild. It's
so
wild.
I wouldn't even know like who in the hell you get a hold of to make a book look like that, but you've done it.
It's a lot of work.
I can only
Yeah,
imagine.
because there's
But it
a lot of
looks
pieces to it.
wonderful.
I mean, it's got
That's
art from like 5 different artists, and then a different artist that did the cover design, and there's gonna be stenciled edges on the papers themselves, and then like the map art, chapter headings, coordinating with a lot of people, and then distribution because you got to actually send it out to there was 1,200 people who backed it that
yeah.
all over the world. Like, gonna have to get the book. So
The thing is I really wish like the very I'm looking at it right now. It looks like you raised a lot of money, my friend. Congratulations. 1,229 backers. The average pledged $106. I don't
that
know how
included
comfortable.
shipping, I will say.
Okay, I don't know how comfortable you are with me saying the current pledge level. It's 1,629% of your goal. Do you mind me saying the final?
Yeah, that's fine.
$130,000 and $384. My
And you
friend,
want
you've
to?
got something.
It's actually higher than that now. Fun
I believe
fact.
it.
It's at
What?
because
Let's hear.
you can actually still pledge on Pledgebox.
Ooh,
So if you're on the
pledge
Kickstarter,
box.
there's like a late pledge or something button on the Kickstarter campaign page. Like in the top right, there's like a big blue button.
Mm.
And if you go to it, it takes you to Pledgebox. And so it's actually up to 137,284 right now.
So Rob J.
Which is
Hayes
so wild.
I can't imagine. So wow, like how long did it take to get to that, by the way?
To get to that amount?
Yeah, so when you ended your Kickstarter, what was it at? And how long is it taken to get to 137,000?
So it was a 21-day campaign, and that's where it got to the 130,000.
Wow,
And then
man.
there was like $7,000 of pledges that were dropped afterwards, or something like that.
Hmm.
Or
Yes,
maybe not,
because you've
maybe not
got
that
your
much. Maybe
people that like
3,000.
don't, because you got
Yeah,
your people that don't naturally like maybe have the money in their account, kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Okay. I was curious about that because my very first Kickstarter that I supported was Rob J. Hayes, his newest God Eater, and like
Yeah, so did I.
I
It looks so good.
man, I'm so pumped for it. I haven't done it. I wish I would have known about it when Brandon Sanderson done his thing,
Yeah.
and you, of course, because I'm going to Pledgebox after we get off here.
No pressure, man. No, I'm actually happy because I chatted with Rob quite a bit beforehand, before his campaign went out.
Uh-huh.
And just because like we're talking Kickstarter stuff.
Yeah.
And he's telling me about it, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you, you're gonna break $100,000 on this campaign.
He's at 81
And
today.
he was like, no. If I break 30,000, I'll be super happy. And I was like, I'm telling you, man. I was like, you have incredible art on this thing. You have 3 books that are included, so there's lots of value, and it also bumps the pledge levels. And you have a huge like fan base that are excited about anything you write. I was
That's
like,
it.
dude, you're gonna break 100,000. He was like, no. And then he's totally going to now. And I'm like, yeah, I called it.
I have to admit something. You're the first person I've interviewed with that, and I'm so sorry to everybody in the chat because I've kind of ignored you for a minute, but I'm going, my focus is back to you guys. That's a compliment to Zach, and I know you guys would agree with that. So let me go over here because my chats are really good. I've got to make sure that these questions are up there. So we've talked about that one. Watching Bookborn absolutely dismantle World of Time is some of the best YouTube there is. Yes.
Try
Yes, I agree.
living with her, man. We watch an episode and she just like turns to me after it's over and is like, I gotta go write my script.
so that's what happens then. That's real life. That's what happens to she now see me.
Well, she takes notes while she's doing it too.
Oh,
because
Okay,
she does the book verse show comparisons. So she like it's a lot more work than just giving a review on it.
dude, that's more work than I'd put into it because, look, I like the books. I love the series. I don't know if I'm alone on that or in the minority, but look, Egwene is a gangster in the series. She is just way stronger than I ever pictured her in the book.
Did you read all the books?
No, I'm at book 4.
Okay. Keep reading if you like Egwene, because yeah, she gets pretty awesome.
Oh man, I can't wait. Thank you for saying that. That's the kind of little snippets that I need because, like, I mean, there's just
And skip book 10.
I don't know if I could do that.
No, I'm dead serious. You should skip book 10 and you probably
Jeez.
won't even notice it.
Really? I haven't heard that. I'm gonna have to look into. I'm sure there's a lot of people that say that now that you've said it, but wow, I'd be anxious to know why. Does
It's
it
a
just
lot of
not
the
fit?
same story from different points of view. It's like a lot of book 9 repeated from different points of view.
Hmm,
So, and
okay.
most of it is not super important.
Well, that makes perfect sense. So I trust your opinion. So I may just do that because 14 books, brother. I mean, you've obviously read all 14, right?
I actually stopped at number 10.
All right. Full disclosure.
like 10 years ago. And I'm so sad that I didn't because I heard the final ones were really good that Sanderson finished off.
I mean,
So
there's got to be
maybe
a
someday I'll
reason
get
this
back.
guy sells off just. I mean, the guy could make something just ridiculous and it would sell out just instantly.
It's his endings, man. He's just really,
Is
really
it?
good at bringing everything together at the end.
I have to trust you with that because um, him mostly. I've touched in a lot of different areas as far as fantasy authors go, but Brandon Sanderson is somebody I've saved. Uh, I'm new to fantasy relatively. I've read Elantris. I hear that's give or leave.
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson. Really liked it. Political intrigue to like the max kind of deal. I really liked it, but at the same time, man, Stormlight Archives is something I cannot stop obsessing over and hearing about.
Yep.
A favorite of yours?
The second book, Words of Radiance, is my favorite fantasy book of all time.
What's book 1? A
So
King,
Way of Kings.
Way of Kings. What a cover.
Yep.
All right, let me look over here in the chat because he's. I'm sure I've missed something. Can you give us a sneak peek into your story in Advent of Winter?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I shared a couple of paragraphs of it in my newsletter today. But it is a backstory for a character in my new series, and it's written kind of like a dark fairy tale. So it's a little bit of a different vibe than a lot of my
My
stuff.
wife's hooked. I know if she's listening right now, she's
I really enjoyed writing it, and yeah, it's got a cool vibe. I mean, it's wintry. It's set in like a lodge in the woods. There's snow everywhere, and there's a little girl, and she wakes up to footsteps on her porch when there should be nobody there, and then stuff happens.
Some stuff. Oh my gosh! If you were to surmise what makes me feel comfortable inside when I read it, you just said it. A wintry. We've got some hot chocolate going on. We've got some fire in the hearth, right?
Dude, you're gonna love the Advent of Winter. Then that whole anthology is just like, I mean, every single one's like set in like a snowy world, right? And some of them are super cozy. Some of them are like, all of the snow is painted red with blood.
Yeah, no, I love that equally.
So it's a good mix, yeah.
So yeah, I grew up between Ohio and northern Michigan, so I know what a muddy winter looks like in Ohio, but I also know what a real winter looks like, and there's nothing more homey about a lodge that's warm. No technology. Let's leave the cell phones at home. Let's go on, an expedition and an adventure. Let's have some hot chocolate. Let's just enjoy each other's conversations. Let's talk about things. Oh, man.
It's the best, man.
I'm glad you agree with me. It just sounds so fun. That's one thing that I want to do with my children as they come out of like the young toddler age, because right now they're just like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm about to just stomp on your iPad because I don't know what money is.
Kids.
So, Yeah, have some kids, guys. It's great, but there's some iPads that you'll have to
There's
replace
some
and
highs
stuff.
and lows.
Oh man, this is fun. So there you go, Caden, in the flesh, man. We've got footsteps leading up to the door. Some stuff happens, but it's cozy. We know that at least at the beginning, it's cozy, and
You get
that's
to see
important.
a race that is specific to the new series. The race is
I
called the Taroth.
thank you. You've kind of led into something that I didn't write it down on. I always send a little bit of questions to my people, but there's also some stuff I've gotten. The Taroth.
The Taroth, yep.
What does that mean? Is there a little bit of story to that word?
So the series is Greek inspired, and so a
Ooh,
lot of the words use Greek words kind of as inspiration.
okay.
And terr ter or terran is like earth is what the
Okay.
prefix means. And so these creatures are a humanoid race that came from below ground, and
Wow,
and
that's a
and they
good
now
take.
infest the world, and all of mankind couldn't defeat them, and so they created 7 havens that are like U.S. state-sized floating islands in the sky where all of
Wow.
mankind lives. So the 7 clouds of Bay
The
are
Seven
mentioned.
Clouds of Elam Bay is book one.
No, that's just the location.
Nice.
The
Deep
first book is, and so they're called clouds, and so the first book is currently called The Fall of Cloud 7, and the
man.
series is Symphony in the Skies.
Seven. The Symphony in the Skies.
hmm The
Bear
magic
with my
system
writing.
is based on music, so
I
Symphony
love
in
it
the Skies.
already. Man, wow. It's incredible how much your brain and mine are syncing right now. It's like right before this, our brain had like a little Wi-Fi thing going on. I've been talking to my wife about when I start writing, and I want something in my magic system. I want it to be like I live in the forest kind of deal. Maybe you've gotten a hint from like me loving lodges.
Yeah.
I kind of speak with nature kind of deal through music.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
it just sounds fun. It's the reason I started this page, really, to talk with people like you, um, which is fun at its own. Even if that was like my only goal, I'm having a blast. But
Yeah.
your knowledge is something that I want to use, and really connect us even more. So I'm just excited. You're just hearing me ramble right now. So thank you.
I love it, man. I love it.
Thank you. Let's see here. Drive my fan. Zach is innovative in every way. That's got to be cool to hear.
I so I hope that's true, and part of it is because I have a good day job, and so I will almost certainly never be a full-time writer. But what that means is that I don't have to make money from my writing,
Mhm.
and so I can kind of try new things that might not work and do like some more risky things, and it's totally fine, right? So like
Yeah.
with my audiobooks are super expensive to produce, and
Okay.
so a lot of times people produce them, and then there's like you just stick it on Audible, you make it Audible exclusive because then you get 40%. If you're not exclusive, you only get 25% per
Oh,
sale.
that's a bit. That's a bit.
And I decided to take mine out of exclusivity, and I was like, I want to do some cool stuff with these. And so for the first thing I did was I offered the first book for free to anybody who signed up for my newsletter.
Wow.
And I was like, here's a free book, free audiobook. I mean, you don't usually you would see like
You
a
don't
free
get
like
that very
ebook
often.
novella or something, right?
Yes.
But it's like, here's a free audiobook.
That's
And
incredible.
that was kind of cool. And then I was like, what else could I do with my audio? And so when I did my Kickstarter, I was like, I've already paid for the audio. I was like, if you back the Kickstarter, you're spending like $85 on this like fancy book. You can have the audiobook for $1. How about that? And so that was an add-on on my Kickstarter. I was like, you can get the full, 35 hours of audio for $1.
You're using your, I really respect it. First of all, you're using what you have comfort in. You've got a good job. You don't need to make, like you said, you don't need to make money from what you're doing as an ambition. But what you're also doing is offering people who want your creativity and what you've offered as a book. And it's really unheard of. I haven't been, I mean, as a reviewer, I have, but before I was a reviewer, I hadn't been offered an audiobook for $1 because I'd have jumped on that every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool, man. I respect that, because what that says to me is I want to entertain people. And if they love what I'm doing, I'm not going to try to rape their wallet.
That's the thing, man. I just like, especially when I'm like trying to get people to buy an $85 book. I'm like, yo, I'm like going to try to give you as much value as I can. So this book has 3 books in one. You can get the audiobook for $1. And then I even ended up putting a slipcase for $1, which, by the way, was a very bad choice. That cost me a lot of money.
I can't imagine. You
But
know,
the slipcases, when you order them, like, so like it's not like a really fancy one, but like it's $1. It's only $1.50 for each slipcase.
wow.
When you get them in bulk from this printer that I'm using. And so I was like, well, I can like take 50 cents off, like, because it was like the $100,000 miles, and I was like, never expected to get here. I'll pay it back a little bit. You guys can have your slipcase that everyone keeps asking for. But I didn't think about shipping, and so it actually is going to cost me quite a bit more than 50 cents per book.
When did I'm seeing that I have to sign up for Pledgebox. That's okay. I'll do that afterwards, because I was just gonna drop it right now. But man, I respect it. Just in a nutshell, that's really cool. I love that those are my kind of people. You know, you hear Ryan Cahill is another one that he offer through Broken Binding. I seen his interview with Petrick. They actually were together. They were on his island, the island that he lives on, Petrick. And it was talking, you know, I want to be able to make a little bit of money, but I also want to offer it at a price that people can't say no to.
Yep.
Respect. I don't know what E.L. Montagues means by this. I'm very sorry that I don't.
Oh, that's the name of the music video. So it's Kaelin.
Okay.
But everything else is right.
Good deal. James Doolin officially wants to know, what is there that Zack can't do?
I can't draw. I'm terrible artist. No, it's bad.
He's even got an answer for that, guys. I can't either. I know.
That's why I love art so much, man. I'm just like, oh, I'm so jealous of how like.
There's a guy on TikTok that I watch. He uses graphite pencils, and he does super realistic. Hyper realism is something I feel like I'm making that word up, but I feel he does this speech before. He's like, look, guys, I spent 25 days on this drawing, and he's like crying, like I love this more than I've ever loved anything, and I wanted to share it with you for free. And I'm like, I'm starting to cry, like, and, you know, and he shows me this picture that I swear to God looks like just a 4K picture that he took. And I'm like, there's no way that this guy did this with a pencil. This guy did this with graphic pencil. And it just blows my mind. It does. Humans are so incredibly talented. And I don't know if we'll ever stop getting more talented, which is crazy. Yeah, Caden, you're right. It's a great SPFBO guide. Nick Horvath, have you heard of him?
No.
If you haven't, oh my God. So as a reviewer, you get a book every now and then, and you know something special is going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm so glad he's here, because I wanted to tell you about him. Sledge versus the Labyrinth comes out on Halloween. I'm going to be doing my review of it. The guy's got something punchy, violent, but for a reason. He's got some sympathetic characters, but they're violent. I don't know. It's like Quentin Tarantino with a 70s like action film with like Max Payne. Did you grow up playing Max Payne?
Yeah.
Man, I hope I'm doing him justice right now, because he really deserves it. He's awesome. One of those guys. Dude, check it out. Sledge versus the Labyrinth comes out Halloween.
It's a great name.
Will be, yeah. And another thing, this guy's 6'10". He played professional basketball for New Zealand. Played against guys like Yao Ming. just super interesting guy. Like studied physics. Yeah, super cool dude. I can't wait. So actually, when I have him on the channel, I'll make sure to let you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, super cool guy.
love
Let's
it.
see here. Shelf Center, and thank you for stopping in, man. Love Voice of War. Can't
Oh,
wait for Threadlight
thanks, guys.
Omnibus in December. He backed the Kickstarter. Of
He's
course
the
he
best.
did. Yeah, he's got wonderful channel. I like
That's
his little
awesome.
snippets of like, how do you say this fantasy name?
Oh
'Cause,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
His shorts.
yeah, it's like, well, of course he should do that, and that's a brilliant idea that I can't believe nobody's done, because we all wonder, what did the author have in mind for us to say? Because I know it wasn't this, you know.
Yep.
So keep doing what you're doing, Shelf Centered. I know your real name, but it's going on 10 o'clock and I can't think straight.
Bryce.
Bryce, yes. Look at you, man. So Nick says, I'm super selective with my TBR, so many badass books, but it's even like when you're selective, it's still out of control. Timothy Wolf, another indie author up in here. Sorry I'm late. Happy Friday. Thank you for stopping in. Michael Roberti, another SPF BO9.
Oh, Mike.
I just had him on. What a wonderful guy he is.
Oh yeah.
All right. So now that they've allowed me to get to my next question, give us a theme that you explore in your trilogy.
Oh, parenthood.
Okay.
I felt like I didn't see enough of that in fantasy books, especially in like adult epic fantasy books. And
Very
so,
relatable.
yeah, in the first book, the main character becomes a father. His wife obviously becomes a mother, and they both have to deal with that throughout the entire trilogy. That baby is there. It
Ooh.
doesn't go away. It turns out it's kind of annoying to write stories when there's a baby around, because you're like, oh, but the baby would probably not be quiet here.
Yeah, no. It's
Oh,
like the realistic
take care
part
of
of Argyle brain
Yeah.
with the writing side of the Argyle brain. I love it, man. So how many kids do you have, by the way?
I have two. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful
8-year-old
number.
and 4-year-old.
You're getting out of that. Now, see, me and my wife are crazy. We just kept like having kids. We're on number 4, and we just started over again. Oh my god. Yeah. So
When was the fourth born?
She was born the 20th of last month. So she is actually a month old today.
A month old. Jeez, yeah. Very new. Congrats, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, my first girl, Amelia Rose. So we have 3 boys and 1 girl. Yeah, so it's wonderful, man. You know, it's just so fun. Looking forward to becoming a little bit softer as a dad, because my boys, it's like I'll throw them in the dirt, rough them up. But like I can already tell, like if you say balls or wiener around my little girl, I'm gonna punch you. You know what I mean? Like you can't have 3 boys without balls and wiener being the topic of the day.
Yep. Can confirm.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, look, I'm not even making this up. It just happens.
Although I'll say because my 8-year-old's a boy, 4-year-old's a daughter, and they wrestle a lot.
She wins?
Still. No, she doesn't win.
Oh, she will.
He's pretty nice to her most of the time, but
good for him.
She doesn't
raising
take it,
a
though.
gentleman.
You're
raising a gentleman, right? Good
yes.
for you.
I mean, you try.
You do. You try, and I can tell you're very respectful. So Bryce says, "Congrats! I have 4 kids too. I know this, Bryce, man. I actually watch a lot of your stuff. Thank you for the congrats. Twins jumped our numbers up. Wow. I always told my wife, like, we had twins. It's like, you know, you have these concerns as a parent when you have one, and I can't imagine. It's like, because my wife, I see her do it. She's breastfeeding right now, and it's like, oh, she gets 1 kid to bed. That's just 1. You have people that have 2 or 3 or 4 at the same time, and they've got to breastfeed 4 children, 2 children in your situation, but even 2, that's double.
Yeah.
So bravo to you and your partner. Wonderful. I know, Timothy Wolf. I feel the same way. He's like, I swear that was a week ago. Yeah, I know. She's already coming out of like the newborn stage, so that's good. It goes from like I'm crying all day for milk to like I'm crying most of the day. So it's a similar thing, but That's for
I
my
don't I
wife.
don't
Like,
miss that, to be honest.
yeah, no, nobody does. My wife is a G. Like, she's keeping up on it and she's smiling during it too, like, and keeping everybody else cool. So
Dude,
it's
that's
just so
impressive.
much respect for moms. Moms are awesome.
Yeah.
Um, Bryce says, "Oh, my wife. I agree with you. I can relate, is what I mean. And yeah, moms are just the best. So where did your love? So sorry. Um, other than reading and writing, what are some other hobbies that you have?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the writing is technically a hobby, right? Because I have my day job
It
where I spend most of my time.
Sure.
But beyond that, I I love chess.
Ooh.
So I do a lot of bullet chess online, actually.
So does that mean like fast pace?
Yeah. So you get
Okay.
so I do like 1 minute with increment games. So it's a minute, and then every move you make, you get like 3 extra seconds or something. So the games go very quickly. I like it because if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. The game's
Yeah.
going to be over in another minute anyway.
In another minute. Yeah, these people are good. I love chess, by the way. I love playing chess, and those who can do the bullet chess, or you guys are another breed.
For those who have read Bonds of Chaos, it probably does not surprise them because there is a scene that's essentially a chess match early on.
Chess is one of those games where, like, when you beat your buddy, it's actually like tout worthy. You know, it's like checkers. Luck has a lot to do with that. I
So on
mean,
Monday at work, I I work in Bellevue, and then on every Monday I go into Seattle, where the majority of my team is. So I'm the manager. I manage 3 teams,
mhm.
and I played chess against 2 of the guys that I manage on Monday, and I whooped them both. And it was one of those moments where you're
Naturally.
like, "And this is why I'm the manager."
One day I have to say, like, you
No,
son of a
I didn't
bitch.
say that. No, they're I don't know. I don't know what they expected. One of them expected to lose. The other one thought he was going to beat me. So
Isn't that
that was fun.
one's like secretly the funnest one to beat?
Oh yeah.
Oh, of
Oh yeah.
course. It's like I respect and almost don't want to beat humble people. But if you're gonna be like, I'm the best, it's like, well, let's see.
We'll see about that.
Exactly. Where did your love for literature stem from?
Where did it stem from? I don't know. I read a lot growing up, and like through like junior high and partly into high school. But then I stopped for a while, and it really didn't kick back up until I started dating Bookborn.
Mhm.
And so this was back in, I don't know, 2013 or something, 2012. I can't remember. That's bad. I'm supposed to remember that, right?
I think that you're with the majority and that you get like the couple years are right, but not the exact date. That's where
Yeah.
she'll come in and correct you.
But the big moment that like got me back into it was actually I had a friend, shout out to Brandon Williams, who
BW.
we were hanging out, and he was like, "Hey man, I just read this series that you should really read. It's like really good." And I was like, "Okay." He was like, I have like a PDF of the entire trilogy, and so I'll just give it to you. Like it's free. You can like bootload it onto your iPad and read it. And I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay." It's called Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson.
Oh shit.
So I read the Mistborn trilogy, and dude, I just friggin' loved it. The ending of that
Wow.
trilogy just like blew my mind, and still is my favorite trilogy to date. I just think the way that it's wrapped up is just so
What do they call
so
that? The
amazing.
Sanderlanche or
The
the
Sanderlanche, yeah.
Sanderlanche? I've
So
heard of this. I haven't read
yeah,
it. Like I
I
said,
read that trilogy for free. I read a pirated copy of it, and
that's what it was. I was
now
wondering
we
if it
have
was like an
given
arc.
him hundreds of dollars.
I could see it. And
Yeah.
and she showcases it very well. You guys have done him much service. He owes you guys a couple books.
Well, he flew Bookborn out to his house a couple months back to do the Trust of the Emerald Sea roundtable, and so that was
I
her
saw
like
that.
dream come true. Yeah.
So like if I had a goal, now I don't know if it look, if Brandon Sanderson said, look, come out to the house, I would drop everything I'm
And
doing
I'll
and
pay for it.
yeah, oh, of course he has to because we
Yeah.
know he's got it like that.
Dude,
Right?
and it happened like it was like the week before it happened. They were like, "Hey, we want to fly you out to Sanderson's secret
Say come
lair
again. Yeah.
for like," and it was for like 4 days to come film a bunch of videos. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, And I was like, you have to go. I was like,
You have to.
obviously I'll take a day off work if I need to. Like, I'll take care of the kids. Like, you have to do this. And it was one of those things where she was just like, the entire YouTube experience has now been worth it.
Oh, I can't imagine. Like I said, if I had one goal, like it would be like a similar thing. Like so Murphy was there too, right?
Yep.
Okay, Bookborn and Murphy, the two powerhouse women of fantasy. Tell your wife I said this, by the way, because I would love to interview her someday. Um, Tell her I'm very interested. You're a wonderful guy. I'm sure she's just as wonderful. But okay, well, I want to find out. Let her know. But Murphy and her run the female. Well, I have to just say, period. It doesn't matter the gender. He did a wonderful thing for two wonderful women who represent him in a wonderful way. She deserved it, and so did Murphy.
Amen, man.
That's
Amen.
cool. So what's even cooler is like you weren't like, you know what, I don't know if you should go because I'm not going. You were like super supportive, it sounds like.
Oh yeah. It's freaking cool, man. Was I a little bit jealous? Absolutely.
Sure.
But it's so cool.
Naturally, right? Because I would have been like, if it was my wife, I'd be like, you know what, go have fun. But it's like while I'm sitting here, I'm gonna be like, oh man, like that'd have been so cool. Like she's having a ball.
Yeah.
So good for you. That's
The
so
worst part
cool
is
to hear.
they can't even like take pictures down there, like in his secret lair, because he's got like artwork that like he's technically like not allowed to like show or anything.
Mhm.
And so they're like, you can see everything, but you can't take pictures and like show it. And so like, I don't even know what it looks like down there. I can't even see.
Yeah, and doesn't that make the whole experience just that much
Oh, yeah.
better for her? Like I saw
Yeah.
shit that people will never see
Yep.
because you are not allowed to see it, and I did. You know,
Yep.
cool, man. Thank you for
Pretty
sharing
cool.
that. That is so freaking cool. Could you give us a couple authors who have their hand in the way that you write?
Oh, whoa.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, my microphone stand just plopped down.
This bad boy falls on a daily.
Non-fantasy authors. I mean, I've been reading like
No. Fantasy, non-fantasy, it doesn't matter. Just three authors that had their hand in the way that you write.
Yeah. I mean, on the fantasy front, definitely Sanderson, Brent Weeks, Anthony Ryan, maybe some Ryan McClellan.
I'll be right back.
Yep. I think those are the main fantasy ones. On the like outside of fantasy, what are you showing?
Well,
is that the Brent Weeks Night Angel?
So please show me yours because I'm a dummy. Oh. And this is my first Brent Weeks book.
I have it out of the thing.
You do, yeah. But see, I learned that I can read this without having to read the first, what is it, 3 books? Oh, see, yours is better. What the hell, man? What the hell?
He came to our area, and the Barnes and Noble rep knows that I like his stuff, and so she bought it for me, and I paid her back.
That is awesome. You want to see what I have on mine? Because I got this the other day. I found out that I can read it first, but my kids like yogurt a lot. So mine's not signed. It's just got yogurt. So what was your... I want to ask you, would you read this book without reading the first, like the Night Angel?
I haven't read it yet.
Okay. So have you read the Night Angel books?
I read Night Angel and I read Lightbringer. Yep.
Okay. I think that's what I'm going to do because it's like, as much as this book calls to me, because it really does, it's just one of those thick ones. And it's just like, I've read the first chapter and it's like, oh, I want to read the rest. I think I need a little bit of history.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's official, guys. At 44 minutes, he has trumped my Brett Weeks book. His is signed. Mine has freaking yogurt on it.
I've been a fan of him for so long, and I'm like, I've always wanted, like, I love getting signed books, and so when I found out he came, I was like, oh yeah, definitely save me one.
That's cool.
But I haven't met him yet, and so I need to meet him still.
He seems like one of those guys. It's just like somebody you've known all your life. He seems like a real dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Every time I see him, I'm
think,
like, he just looks like one of my dad friends.
yeah, exactly. Like I think I've known you all my life. It's just like I didn't know you wrote books.
Exactly. Yep.
Let's get to some. Let's see, Zach. You do a ton of support. You do a ton to support authors. The Indie Fantasy Fund, Epic Fantasy Audiobooks. How did those come about, and do you have any stories to share of surrounding those?
I'll start in reverse order. So I'll start with the Epic Fantasy Audiobooks channel. So what happened here was I last year went to there's a indie writer conference called 20 Books. It's like the biggest indie conference in the world, and basically like
Wow.
a bunch of writers come together. They share their experiences. There's millionaire authors there sharing their experiences and things like that. And while I was there, I met a bunch of other indie fantasy authors, and one of them, his name is Richard Fierce. He writes
Richard Fierce.
Richard Fierce.
Okay.
He writes a bunch of like dragon fantasy books. And we were just talking, and he was telling me about how he put his audiobooks, because he's like a big backlist of books that he's written. A lot of them are like shorter books, like 200 pages and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I put all the audiobooks up on YouTube. And he's like, and I'm making like a steady stream of income off of like ad revenue from it. And I was like, that's so cool. I was like, what an interesting way. And obviously I'm like, oh, well, I have wide audiobooks. Mine aren't exclusive to Audible, so I could do that. But then I was like, I could do that, but like there are requirements for monetization, right? Like you have to have 1,000 subscribers. You got to have a certain number of watch hours, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I only have 3 books. It's going to be hard for me to like give people a reason to subscribe to my channel. So I was like, well, what if I like got a group of authors together and we created a channel together?
Ooh.
And so at this conference, I met Jeffrey L. Kohanek, who has written a ton of books, Fate of Wizardom, Fall of Wizardom, bunch of like sword and sorcery, fun.
I have heard of
fantasy books. He has a big backlog, and I was like, hey man, you got a lot of books. Would you be interested in like trying this out? And then I looked and I was like, and I know your books are not exclusive to Audible. Would you be interested in this? And he was like, oh yeah, most of my audiobooks, like those older ones, like aren't making me any money at this point anyway, so I might as well. And so I was like, all right, I got Jeffrey L. Kohanek on board. I got me. And so then I started like scouring through like Audible and like Chirp and some of these other like audiobook places. And I was like, what other indie authors have like non-exclusive audiobooks? And I put together like a list of people, and I was like, oh, well, I know these guys. So I like started reaching out to people and got together a little crew. And yeah, it eventually came together and we created the channel, and it had like a huge, awesome like surge at the beginning. So much so that YouTube shut the channel down.
Wow, you broke the internet.
I think they were just like, what's happening? Like, this seems a little bit sketchy kind of thing.
Why are you just starting
Like,
and this shit just hitting the roof?
They're like, I don't think these are like legit. I don't think you own the rights to these things kind of thing. Right.
Okay.
And so it like took me, like I had to like make a bunch of, please, like, oh, can you please reinstate, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't actually work. And I had to like reach out to friends that work at YouTube.
Wow.
to get the channel reinstated. And then I finally got reinstated. We hit all of the benchmarks to get monetization enabled. Yeah. And I put in all the monetization. We do like an ad every about 30 minutes or so. So you get like 30 minutes of ad-free listening.
That's acceptable. I can deal with that.
And it's always at a chapter mark as well. So it's not going to like cut you off in some weird spot. And then it got demonetized. They were like, you don't own the rights to this stuff. And I was like, yes, we do. And then so I like, requested the appeals again. And then it also, again, did not get approved. And so I had to reach out to another friend at YouTube because I didn't want to bug the other friend. And I was just like, how ridiculous is this? So, like,
2 friends.
I'm just so lucky that like I'm a software engineer that works at like Facebook. I work on Instagram and Messenger. And I was like, how lucky is it that I have like friends who work at YouTube that I can reach out to? Otherwise, the channel would be completely screwed.
Man.
And so anyway, it worked out. We have I think 7 authors now. We got like 35 audiobooks up on the channel. We have over a million views. We have like 1.25 million hours of audio listened to. We've made like $15,000 or something.
listen, guys, anybody who's listening, and this was one of the most eye-opening things for me as a young man. Take that number, 1 million, and measure a Skittle, measure a paperclip, and I want you to convert that. And if you can't do this math, I'm not saying that you're bad at math, but get a buddy who knows how to do math and convert 1 million Skittles into miles. And that will show you how big that number is. Paper clips. The man has done something with 1 million hours, over 1.25 million. And what did you say? Over 1 million views?
Yeah, so over 1 million views and about 1.25 million hours of audio listened to.
It's incredible, dude. Seriously.
Wild.
You know, I think we're desensitized as a culture to the word or the number 1 million because we hear it a lot. It should not be taken lightly, people. Do what I said. I'm serious. If you want to
it's fun though, because when I set this up, I was like, I don't want to just like take everybody's money when I'm doing this, right? Because I'm like doing all the admin stuff. So I take 10%, and they get to keep 90% of the revenue for their videos. And so every quarter, so every 3 months, I get to get on my bank account and my author bank account and send a little wire over to each of the people with their payouts. And
I'll bet that's fun.
It's pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Good for you.
I'm like, hey, I made you money. Let's go.
Exactly. Like you're in a position to say, I'm glad to have made you money. That's really refreshing, Zach. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Ian Montague says Richard Fierce for posterity. I don't know the context. I'm sure that's a general statement.
That's the person I met. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I knew that, but I don't know what he means for posterity. Maybe I'm just simple. What is that channel? Your audiobooks.
Epic Fantasy Audiobooks is the name of the channel.
I will have all these links in my description. I promise. So I heard Sanderson as far as 3 authors that you could. So I guess I haven't asked this question. 3 authors that you wish you could read again for the first time.
Oh, I wish I could read again. You know, it's not a fantasy book, but Ender's Game, man.
Ooh,
I love that book. And actually, you know what I love even more than Ender's Game? Ender's Shadow.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you know anything about it, but
I just bought Ender's Game.
So Ender's Shadow is the same story from a different character's perspective.
Okay.
And I like it even better.
I haven't heard that.
Than Ender's Game. Yeah. It's really cool.
A couple more.
I guess it's like how Wheel of Time book 10 should have been.
All right.
Maybe it's what he was going for, but he didn't get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that book I really, really loved. I mean, I'd love to read the Mistborn trilogy again for the first time. It's just so good. But honestly, like most of Sanderson's books are great to reread because the endings are so good and he lays out a lot of breadcrumbs. So when you reread, you like pick up on things and you're like,
okay, now I get why he put this here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's got layers. It's got depth.
Yeah.
And how many, honestly, guys, like how many other authors, and I'm not just talking about fantasy, can you say that you've read that you could reread and still find out, oh, this is why, or, you know, there's not many. And I'm so excited to get to Sanderson because of comments like what you've just made. Bryce says, yes, Ender's Shadow. Love that one. I considered it just as good as Ender's Game.
Bean. That's the character's name.
Okay. Bean. I love that because that is such like a playful name, but it sounds like somebody you would call your buddy. Like Bean.
He's a small little guy, so they call him Bean.
Okay, that makes sense.
Genius. Yep.
So what would I be if a small guy is Bean? What would a 6'5" guy be? Like asparagus?
Yep. Definitely.
So all right, so say you're deep in this, you get off work, you're writing your next book, you're really ambitious about getting this bad boy out. I'm sure you're somewhere in that process now. What is your writing process?
Ooh, man, it's
whatever your kids allow you to have.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And the day job. So it's hard because
you're a busy guy.
It's been different for every book, and it really just depends on kind of how my life's going. right now, like my day job is very busy. Like I mentioned, I manage 3 different teams, and that keeps me busy. And then I got my son's doing soccer, and so I'm
Mm,
3 days a week helping out over there.
congrats.
And when it's not soccer, it's baseball, and I'm helping out over
Even
there.
more of a congrats, man. That will keep him on a level. I played sports nonstop. I never had a day off, and that kept me out of trouble. It will do him well.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things where it's like I want him doing that, and I also want to be there with him, doing it with him. Because I'm like, it's one of those things where like I want him to like see me as like someone who's there with him through all of
Yeah.
his successes.
That's amazing.
So
Congrats,
as
dude.
long as I'm allowed to, I'll be there in every practice and game and stuff,
That's wonderful.
and
You
on
know
the
how many
field if I
dads
can.
don't do that? You know how many dads won't do that? That's wonderful.
Well, some of them can't too, right? Like there's another thing. Like you
Yeah.
get lucky if your schedule works out that you can do that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So the writing process is something.
oh yeah,
that-
writing process.
Yeah. We got on a
Uh,
touching moment there. We agreed on something there. We lost a little bit of what we were talking about.
Yes, beanstalk. I agree, Bryce. Perfect.
I saw that.
No,
Like, of course.
Yeah, so Voice of War was, I think the majority of that book was actually written on the Caltrain in California, in the Bay Area.
Okay.
I lived in the Bay Area at the time, and I
Uh-huh.
took the Caltrain to work. And so in the morning, I would write while I was on the train, and coming home, I would write when I was on the train. I had like, 40-minute ride both ways.
Mm-hmm.
I just made steady progress over that.
On your phone?
On my computer. Yeah.
Okay. E.C. Greaves wrote that entire trilogy on his frickin' phone.
What?
Yeah, dude. Check out
That's
our interview. He
insane.
talks about all 3 books he wrote on the train to work that he ended up quitting to write on his phone. All 3 books.
That's insane.
Right?
That's awesome.
It is. It's
What
a
a great
cool little
story.
bit of knowledge.
Yeah. And then Stones of Light, that one was, I would say, at least half of it was finished during my paternity leave for
Ooh,
my second
nice.
kid. Yep.
That's how you know you've got a good job. Paternity leave. Look,
Yeah.
if we're not in Germany, paternity leave is pretty much extinct here in the U.S.
Yep. You got to get lucky. And then the third book was just pure force of will.
Mm.
A lot of late nights. And
Okay.
I had set a pre-order date, and so I had no choice but to hurt myself in finishing it.
I injured myself. I'm mentally damaged. Look,
Yeah.
guys, if you don't enjoy this book, look, I'm done.
That was the hardest book to write, man. Writing endings is hard.
I can't imagine.
Because you're not going to make everybody happy, and you're like, oh, I got to
Never.
finish up all of the threads. I got to make sure the characters, finish their growth arcs, and all the seeds that I planted have to get reaped.
Ooh, yeah. Good for you because you're acknowledging that. I want to make sure I've seen him comment quite a few times. I'm really excited to talk to him. Mark Timony.
Mark.
I'm glad that you're here. I just wanted to say that. I don't really have context for what that chat is about, but thank you for being here, Mark. Can't wait to talk with you.
So, funny fact about that, actually, Melissa McPhail, the Pattern of Shadow and Light. I read that. I read, I think, like 3 or 4 of those books before I even knew what self-publishing was or what indie books were. I found it on a Facebook ad, like probably 10 years ago, and read those books. But yeah, she passed away, and so that's why they're saying sad.
Melissa McPhail.
McPhail. So it's McPhail.
Okay.
It's Phail. I think that was just a typo.
Okay.
But yeah, those are epic, really cool books.
Is there any book that made you cry? Because I have not read that book. I have not cried during a book. I would love to know if you've read a book that made you cry.
I don't think I have.
Okay. Me neither.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really.
I don't know if I'm just like this cold.
It's funny because
person.
like in shows and movies and stuff, I'm totally like I'll get choked up all the time.
I cried during Lord of the Rings earlier.
Yeah, I think it's like I'm a very visual person, and when I read, like there's like a bit of disconnect for me.
Yeah, dude. I was telling my wife because she's looking at me like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Sam and Frodo's relationship brings a tear to your boy's eye every single frickin' time. When he leaves him on the side of the mountain, how dare Frodo? Every time he gets me. Oh well, and also, I can't think of his name right off the top. The King from Return of the King. Of course, the guy dies. So he tries to take. It's in Fellowship of the Ring. He tries to take over Frodo, and he says, "Give me your ring. You're gonna betray us." This type thing. He gets shot in the chest like 3-4 times, and he's looking over him, and he's like, "I tried to steal Frodo's ring. I'm a real dick for that," kind of deal. And me, I'm just like, "Oh, this poor bastard." And my wife's like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" I was like, "I'm sorry. There's just certain things that get me, you know." So I could relate with you. But books, I have to find that one. I'll tell you, when I find that book that makes me cry, I'll announce it. I promise. Because it's going to take one hell of a book. So Mark Timony, thank you for the Melissa McPhail, correct?
Yeah, somebody else mentioned it first. Knox Witch Book Life was the first to mention it.
Okay, I get that feeling with this one. Melissa, yes. Okay, thank you so much. And Knox Witch Book Life. I'm gonna have to check that out because it seems like one of those emotional pulling tear jerkers. Which if you can find that in the fantasy realm, that's what I'm looking for. I like the grim, dark, violent stuff, but every now and then I'd like to find something that can get my emotions going. Nick says, "The sun also rises" broke my heart a little bit, but I didn't cry. Come on, Nick, did you cry? You don't have to lie to me. So Ian Montague says, "I cry when I write. If I do it right." Okay, I can see that. So you find yourself immersed in this ambitious kind of emotional scene. What better of a signal that this is going to work for a lot of people than maybe that moment for you, E.L. Montague. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Bonds of Chaos is a nice emotional book. Now, Bonds of Chaos is
book 3. It's the finale.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
I have had quite a few people tell me that they cried in the book.
That's got to feel cool.
I mean, I was hoping it would be emotional. There's quite a few scenes that, yeah.
Now, do you ever
that I would get emotional when I wrote, but like I would never cry.
Yeah.
I mean, I cried when I got married. I cried when both my kids were born. I cried.
Yeah.
I'm not not a crier, but reading and writing, I don't cry as much.
I'm so glad you brought that up because, man, I would say that my children, like seeing all 4 of my children being born, isn't it just the most magical thing in the frickin' world, dude?
It's crazy.
Just it's insane. It's absolutely.
I created life.
Oh my gosh, we could just talk for another hour and 13 minutes for that. What's next for you, Zach? I would love to know. Let the people know what's next for Zack Argyle.
Yeah, so I got 2 novels I'm working on. One is that The Fall of Cloud 7 book.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main project. I have a secret side project that I'm also working on. That's a little ridiculous, but also something that I'm just really excited about.
You're the man that can do something ridiculous. I get it.
The pitch for it is John Wick meets Pokemon.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. As somebody who loves John Wick and who grew up on Pokemon, I can't wait to find out what the hell
it's called Tom Blade.
Tom Blade?
Tom Blade.
My guy.
The main character's name. So I'm hoping both of those books I'll be able to get finished next year. So
I'm excited.
And then I've got a short story going into another anthology that is not announced yet, but I'm very excited about.
Awesome.
Hopefully we'll get announced in the next couple months.
I was so excited to see your name with the advent of winter. Guys, that dropped today, the Kickstarter. Go support the guy. Go support. Now, I hope I'm saying this right. I know that Dom put that together, so he reached out to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was all Dom. He coordinated everything. He got all 24 authors. He wrote a story in it himself as well.
I see that. I've seen that. That's wonderful. I think once I'm done here, not only will I go support that Kickstarter, but I am so happy.
He actually was the proofreader for the whole Threadlight trilogy. So he did.
Thank you for sharing that, because I've seen that he that's his deal. That's what he does.
Yeah, so
And
he
this
wasn't the original proofreader, but after the Kickstarter was finished, I was like, you know what? I want to like make sure that like if I'm going to get this super fancy version, that like the book is really clean. And
sure.
so I asked
We had
Dom
two
to
editors.
do. Yeah, so there was a proofreader for the individual books when they were released, and then Dom did a full pass of the whole trilogy before I got the new one made.
Incredible,
And
because
he's great. Yeah, he caught a
he
lot of
seems
stuff.
like a really, really intelligent guy who knows what he's talking about. And honestly, anything he backs, I'm probably going to agree with it. I mean, look at the list of authors that he got for the Advent of Winter. You know, you being one of them, incredible. It's really cool. We've got some stuff to look forward from you, Zach. I can't wait. Where can we follow you, purchase your work, the whole nine?
You can follow me anywhere. Twitter's where I'm most active, but I'm also on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm technically on TikTok. I've got 4 or 5 videos on there.
Okay.
I've been wanting to do more with that.
Very active app, isn't it?
A guy in my writing group, he's been like putting out videos on his TikTok. He had one that got over 1 million views.
Wow.
Just like 2 weeks ago or something like that.
That's a lot.
He ended up making like $7,000 or $8,000 off of that one video for people buying his books.
That's
crazy.
Amazing.
I was like,
who was it? Can I know the author?
Yeah, those are for his horror books. It's Jay Bauer.
Jay Bauer.
Yeah, the book that went viral was he's got a series called Dead Blood about a vampire in a zombie apocalypse.
Ooh.
Turns out it's not easy to find blood.
You're talking to somebody who I had a horror author on earlier today, Steve Stark. Wonderful guy, wonderful book. But I'm getting more into horror as a genre to read in. So I'm going to check him out.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to have all your social links. I'll have Amazon. Where else are you sold?
Everywhere, man. Anywhere you could ask. It's on
Barnes and Noble.
Yep.
Waterstones.
Yep. They should be all over the place. Audible,
awesome.
Spotify.
Awesome. I'll have all those links in the below. I'll find as many as I can. I'll throw them in there. I like to use this last little bit of my interview to, I know you've told us about some upcoming projects that you're working on. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight, throw out there?
I mean, those are the main things. I think, yeah, I'm getting those. If you want to, follow along on the newsletter, I do once a month newsletter. Usually shout out.
I've got it here at the bottom.
Some projects that I think are exciting. A project that I'm excited about that's coming out next week is another Kickstarter special edition for a book called The Shadow Watch. It's for S.A. Klopfenstein.
Okay.
He's a good friend of mine. The book is going to be beautiful. He's got lots of amazing art inside.
Would you say the name again?
So it's S.A. Klopfenstein.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
I've seen his
Shadow
name.
Watch.
I'll be looking out for that.
So it should be released next week.
Awesome. Zamil Akhtar, Gunmetal Gods. He just released his. In fact, it starts on. Dude, I just had him on, and he's like, "I've got something cool coming up. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but now I know what he was talking about."
Yep.
It comes out on my birthday. He's using
the same distributor as me, and so I've actually known about it for a while now.
Of course you have. So it starts, the Kickstarter for Zamil starts on November 14th. That's actually my birthday.
Oh yeah. You're turning 33.
33. Look at you, man. You pay attention. So I think I've got a lot of cool shit to look forward to, man. I've really freaking enjoyed our conversation, man. Thank you so much for just let me borrow your time. I know you're a busy guy. You're writing. You've got a wife. You've got family. Thank you for spending some time with me on my channel. It will forever be treasured. And I really hope this isn't our last talk.
You're awesome, man. Appreciate you. If you guys aren't already subscribed to him, go subscribe. Go like and subscribe.
Thank you so much. Hey, anybody who stopped and watched this interview and who will watch it in the future, thank you so much. And until next time, guys, we'll see you.